Hi, I'm a slut. What? You can't be surprised.
I'm not. Judging solely on how you look, I'm not really shocked or surprised at all that you've gotten quite a few dicks in your lifetime. If only we lived around each other, maybe I could have been one of those dicks.
When you've spent my entire life deciding woman equals sexualize and
You know what I find to be incredibly strange? For some odd reason, men sexualize women, and yet gay men are just born that way.
ninth grade a man told me I have good blowjob eyes.
You know, in all honesty, I'm not really surprised that that comment stuck with you all those years. That is one of the oddest phrases I've ever heard, even for myself. I mean, who says stuff? Who does that? Who says stuff like that? That is pretty weird. If I were you, I'd probably hang on to a comment like that too. That's just odd. Nice blowjob eyes. What the fuck?
Hi, I'm a slut, but what does that mean?
It means you're a promiscuous woman.
I'm unclean, I'm less pure, I sleep around, sure, but isn't that what you were begging for?
Yeah, I don't think I'm your target audience. I would rather have a nice young lady who was a virgin. That'd be great, you know? Just two virgins being together forever. That'd be nice. I don't really think I'm the person who was meant to be viewing your poem.
Hi, I'm a slut, and science disagrees, but let's ignore anatomy and...
Are you sure about that? I don't really think science has much of anything to say about this. I mean, considering the fact that science isn't a fucking person and can't talk. But also, you are aware of sexually transmitted diseases, correct? You do know what those are, right? Right? You are a high school graduate, huh?
joke that my vagina is wide enough to fit an entire football team.
Well, not at the same time.
Or even your narcissism, but no one's is big enough for that. You think an orgasm for you is like oxygen for me.
Yeah, I'm very clearly not the target audience here. I don't really know many people who think like that. And if you have had sex with men who do think like that, you do know that you picked them, right? It's like you can't be upset at them. You were the one who wanted them at the time.
Like when I am going down on you, I am actually sucking up life, retrieving my very soul from inside your stomach. And an orgasm for me is like, well, maybe. If you have time and...
You know, if you're having sex with men who don't care about whether or not you orgasm, why don't you just have sex with men who do? Why don't you just pick men who are invested into you orgasm? I don't get it. You make it sound like you can't find a man that would be invested in that. Why don't you just get into a committed relationship and talk to him?
Since you can't see it, it probably doesn't exist anyway.
You should have sex with a Christian. They have absolutely no issue with believing in something that they cannot see. I mean, I could be your first if you want.
I was probably faking it anyway. Women don't like sex anyway.
No, I've heard feminists say that people think that women don't like sex. However, through my 20 years of existing in this plane of reality, I've actually come to the conclusion that it's actually women's fault that people think that women don't want sex. Now, you're going to ask me to defend that conclusion. I will do that for you. Men, I want you guys to think about a time when a girl thought that you liked her. Now, think about how the dynamic of that relationship, regardless of whether or not you did or didn't like her, just think, I'm pretty sure every man has had at least one time in their life where a woman thought that he liked her, and he didn't, or he didn't, it doesn't really matter. But, and here's the kicker, the way she treated you changed. And usually, the way she treats you is a little standoffish. She doesn't really like you all that much anymore. She kind of pushes you away now. If she does like you, then she will aggressively indicate that she wants you to try harder. But if she doesn't like you, then she'll push you away. Now, most people who think logically would say, well, I mean, you don't have to have sex with someone who fancies you, but what sense does it make to be standoffish about someone who likes you? I mean, you would think that the appropriate emotion to feel to someone who fancies you is to be flattered, not downright repulsed, even if the person, isn't actually like repulsive. See, it's kind of stuff like that that makes me think that women don't like sex. I mean, I know better than that. I know they do. It's that whenever you express sexual interest in a woman who doesn't like you, she pushes you away. She's not flattered. She's creeped out. And so, after a while, as a man, you have to come to one of two conclusions. You either have to come with, women don't like you, or women don't like the idea of sex. And since it's easier to come to terms with the fact that women don't like having sex, maybe that's where people got that idea. But I think it originated from women's standoffishness when it comes to men that they don't like. I mean, think about the whole catcalling thing. I mean, whether or not catcalling, blah, 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 a whole different videos on the topic. Someone having sexual interest in you isn't a bad thing unto itself. And yet, a lot of ladies or feminists who are complaining about catcalling act like it is. So you'd have to think, well, I guess they don't like when people say, have a nice day, beautiful. Or they don't like the idea of men having the idea of trying to have sex with them. So then it'd make you think that they don't like having sex. It's not really that hard to get to that conclusion. I mean, it can be wrong, certainly. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I will be okay with my conclusion being wrong. What's not wrong is the fact that women become standoffish when you're attracted to them and they're not attracted to you. And they act like that's a bad thing. By the way, you can keep going.
You're pretty sure the clitoris is just a myth, so when
Who the fudge thinks that clitorises don't exist? No one thinks that. That's not even true.
it comes to my pleasure, no one really gives a shit.
Then why don't you have sex with men who give a shit? You make it sound like you're not attractive enough to find a man who is invested in making you have an orgasm. You picked those men who didn't care. You can't indict them all now after the fact. You wanted them at the time. You can't be all mad now. That's who you picked.
Unless I can come like a man. Because then I'm a fetish. Or if I'm a virgin, that makes me a fetish too, but
Not really sure that's the way that word works. If I understand correctly, fetish is when you sexualize something that isn't inherently sexual. And since a virgin is a woman who has yet to have sex, that is something that is inherently sexual. I don't really see how you can fetishize that. If anything, I guess maybe you can fetishize having sex with a tighter vagina, but that's inherently sexual, first of all. And second of all, I heard numerous times that the tightness of the vagina has nothing to do with whether or not the woman has been experienced or not. It has mostly to do with whether her vagina is lubricated. Again, that's just all what I've heard. So fetishizing having sex with virgins is an odd thing. Perhaps men have a preference for virgins, or some men do. I can't say all men do, because all men don't. But again, some men do. I'd like to. I prefer that. But I'm one in a million, really. Basically, what I'm saying is, you're wrong.
doesn't that also mean I'm a prude?
Let me explain this concept to all the people on the interwebs. The insult, you're a prude, doesn't really have much to do with whether or not you're a virgin. The insult comes from the fact that they think that you think that you're too good to have sex with them. They think that you're arrogant or cocky for no reason. That's the insult. That they're technically misusing the word prude. They're insulting the fact that you think that you're better than them when you're not. Doesn't have anything to do with you being a virgin. It has everything to do with you not having sex with them. That's the insult. They're basically saying that you're not good, you're not better than them. It's ironically calling you a prude. That's the point of the insult. It doesn't have anything to do with your virginal status.
Everything I do is an invitation for your condemnation.
My friend, you can no more stop people from having opinions than you can stop the flow of rivers. So you attempting to try to stop people from having opinions is a gigantic waste of time.
Regardless of the angle of the delicate arch in my back marked down on your scale from 0 to loose, and if I had learned anything that didn't have to do with how to make my hair fall daintily over my breasts.
Are you actually complaining about the fact that you have to be physically appealing for men? Because if you are, you should stop right there, because I can just lay down a whole list of what men have to do to be attractive to women. off the top of my head, work out and, and eat right. Those aren't easy things to do, especially the working out part. So, yeah, don't go down that road.
How to make my lips softer and more like a graveyard, untouched, and where grown men go when they feel dead inside, or
For a very long time, I had no idea what that simile was referring to, but upon listening to it the last time, I figured it out. So, to explain to you guys what she meant by saying making herself more like a graveyard, she's saying that, one, she's trying to make herself virginal and pure, making it seem like no one has ever done anything with her. And that she's the person that guys pick when they want to feel like they're with someone, but only for a night. Basically, guys are having one night stands with her, because they don't feel like they have anything inside. Which, honestly, a lot of people have one night stands to avoid commitment and to avoid their feeling of loneliness. I'll make a whole video about that one day. And that's what she's saying. She's saying that men only want to touch her when they're feeling lonely. But aside from that, they don't want anything to do with her. That's what that meant. Just in case for those who didn't get it, because I didn't get it for a long time when I first heard the poem, but I do now. Continue.
Or how to make my aura more alluring, but not too alluring. That's something a skank would do.
Well, that would be pretty reasonable, considering the fact that skanks are trying to have sex with lots of people. I don't see why they wouldn't try to make themselves more alluring.
I would tell you that when two opposing forces meet, they cancel, so it sounds to me like you just don't want me to exist.
Well, more accurately, we have just reached the reason why it's a problem to think of people as a collective, because it's impossible to have a contradictory idea about them. If you think that all men are deadbeat dads, and if you also think that all men are great fathers, one of them has to give. You can't think of everyone as a collective, or everything as a collective, because then you reach this problem here. You think that men aren't attracted to prudes, and you also think that men aren't attracted to sluts. That's why you think it's a contradiction. And the real problem is here, you just don't seem to understand that some men like virgins, and some men like sluts, and some men want to get married and have sex with one woman. That's what you haven't grasped yet. And apparently you haven't grasped that you can just choose to have sex with men who genuinely care about you. You know that's an option, right, ladies? You do know you can just have sex with a man that likes you, right? Has no one ever told you that before?
I am raw meat in a slaughterhouse, packaged according to what you are hungry for that day. I am identified by my thighs and my moans and my sighs, even though you keep telling me I shouldn't be making noise in the first place. Keep your mouth shut unless I'm the one putting something in it.
Seriously, Savannah, you can just not have sex with men who treat you like that. There are so many men in the world who genuinely care about you. I don't even like fellatio. Like, you and I could have sex, and I would never say those words to you because I don't even want to put my dick inside a woman's mouth. There you go. A man who likes virgins, doesn't like fellatio, would like to be in a committed relationship. You make it sound as if you can't just date a man like that. Come on, Savannah. Not every guy is going to do some shitty thing to you. My word.
It's funny, the ones who cry whore the loudest are the ones who are thirstiest for my blood, and my love only starts to matter and stops being make-believe, a fantasy when you're watching lesbian porn. But they quickly discover that actually what they've been missing this whole time is your cock. You're looking to experiment in the same way I must be experimenting, like a science fair where the prize for equating my entire personhood to your dick is that you get two women who are disgusted by how your breath reeks of desperation instead of just one.
Yep. I am thoroughly convinced that I am not the target audience.
You're damn right. My body is a temple. I am the god it was built for. I am the landlord, and I can let whoever I want live inside it.
If that be the case, Savannah, I'm going to have to ask you a very reasonable and simple question. Why did you let guys who would do nothing but defile your temple into your temple? You'd think you would put down signs that say, do not draw on the walls, or do not spit here, do not bring food into the temple. You'd think you'd have boundaries there. Instead, it sounds like you have a history of having sex with men who don't really care too much about you. And if that be the case, well, that actually sounds more like you're the one with the issue than they do. Sorry about that.
Hi, I'm a slut, and no, that doesn't mean I am nothing but flesh to grab with your red-stained hands that you've sterilized with excuses in case I shout. So when I do, you can tell everyone that hi, I'm a slut, and no, that doesn't mean I am nothing but sweat and blowjob eyes. Hi, I'm a slut, and no, that doesn't mean I am nothing but the girl who was asking for it. Hi, I'm a slut. And no, that doesn't mean I am nothing.
Well, Savannah, I don't really think a lot of people feel that way. I mean, maybe they do. I just don't think they do. Whenever I call a woman a slut, it's usually because she's a promiscuous woman. And I say usually facetiously. I mean always because she's a promiscuous woman. That being said, if you're a woman watching this video, and you identify with what Savannah has said here, and if you feel like you've had sex or been in relationships with men like that consistently, then I'm going to have to do this to you. Not because I hate you, no, but because I care about you. If every man you've had sex with treats you badly, there's something wrong with you. You keep picking these men. And you know, it's really easy to indict all men and say all men are going to do mean and bad, nasty things to you, when that's not the case. I mean, seriously, you choose. You choose the guys you let have sex with you. And if you keep choosing men who don't care about whether or not you orgasm, you can't go around and complain about the fact, especially when there are men who do care about whether or not you orgasm. So ladies, if you want to avoid all this angry, heartbroken shit, stop having sex with men who don't like you and don't care about you. It's literally lack thereof in action. So with that being said, man, I certainly hope you guys got something out of today's video. And if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, have a great day. I will see you cool cats soon. Adios.